All right, so here is your training on meal planning and how. So we talked about meal prepping, but now we're going to talk about meal planning on actually how to not. This is more of the planning side of the prep. So the prep, how to meal prep, is how to actually make it happen. This is probably what you do beforehand, and then what you do for a long time in order to get stuff organized and plan things out. It's really, really effective. So basically, what we're going to go over in this training is how to plan out your meals effectively, how to avoid processed foods, why that's important, what does that even mean, why the overall aspect of planning meals is important, some common mistakes and pitfalls you see a lot, and then the actual activity that we're going to have you do when it comes to planning out your meals. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is planning your meals effectively. So the first step to this is just getting organized. Okay, so decide how many meals you're going to be planning. All right, plan for the weekends too, not just Monday through Friday. So our recommendation is that you start with planning around 3 days at a time. Okay, so what it would look like is you plan Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, and then on Tuesday, you start planning again for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, if that makes sense. You don't want to let yourself get to the end of your meal plan before you start planning again. So on Sunday, you would sit down and you would write your plan and get organized, decide, okay, I'm going to plan my meals right now for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then on Tuesday, you'll sit down and you'll do the exact same thing for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. Okay. So the next thing you want to be doing when you're planning is to assemble your meals around a protein source. We've already talked about this before too, but it's super important just to be reminded of it. So the things you want to be basically centering all your meals around is 6 to 8 ounces of meat or fish. Okay, so it can look like shrimp, it can look like eggs, it can look like, which again, I'll add that in there too. Chicken, steak, pork, whatever. You want to be centering all your stuff around that, right? So eggs for, I got that in there already. Eggs for yogurt, eggs and yogurt for breakfast. Okay. So what would this look like? All right. So for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week, I'm going to have ground beef as my protein source for lunches. For Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday breakfast this week, I'm going to have Greek yogurt and 2 hard-boiled eggs as my protein source. For Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday dinner, I'm going to have salmon as my protein source. So you can see how we're planning out the 3 meals for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and they're all going to look the same for those 3 days, right? Oh, excuse me. So ground beef is for lunches, eggs and yogurt for breakfast, and then salmon for dinner. And that's just for 3 days. Okay, so remember, every other day you're probably going to be planning for the next couple of days. All right, the better you get at it, the more stretch of time you can plan out. But we definitely recommend just the first couple of days. All right, so after you've got your protein sources squared away, you want to then fill in your plan with veggies and carbs. So, for example, to go with my steak, or excuse me, to go with my ground beef this week, I'm going to have a baked potato and some steamed Brussels sprouts. All right, there's your veggies and your carbs. To go with my Greek yogurt and my eggs, I'm going to have an apple, right? You don't want to have probably vegetables at breakfast. I get it. So, just picking out that fruit or picking out that carb at breakfast, right? To go with my salmon at dinner, I'm going to have rice and asparagus. All right, so you can see how it's a carb source, a vegetable source to go with the protein source. All right. Now, after you've got all that squared away for the next couple of days, you got your protein, your vegetables, and your carbs. Now we're heading to the store. All right, so after we've got our 3 day plan, go get the ingredients that you need and follow the meal prep guide to make these if you are meal prepping. So you go back and watch that again on how to go to the grocery store. All right. So the next thing here is to avoid heavily processed foods when you are planning out your meals. And so, what exactly are processed foods? So, anything that is prepackaged, pre-cooked, or processed in a factory before heading to the grocery store. Okay. I would say probably a majority of the foods in the grocery store are processed, unfortunately. But all foods are processed a little bit, but some are much more processed than others, right? So, um, those are the types of foods that you see that are like they go through the factory, they go through manipulation before they hit the store, and a lot of the things that are added into them are not good for you, and they create the desire to eat more of these not great foods. So we'll talk about that in a second too. But why do we even want to avoid them? Again, they include additives to make them taste better so that you eat more of them. Why did companies do this? So they can make more money, of course, right? So these additives are not only designed to change your brain chemistry, all right, but they also damage your cells. Your cells. So what additives should you look out for? The number one thing you should look out for when you're picking up food is added sugar. So if you pick up a package or a wrapper or whatever of food, flip it over, and the first thing you should be looking at is added sugar. Okay, that can come in many forms: high fructose corn syrup, rice syrup, dextrose, just pure cane sugar. It can come in a lot of different forms. But you want to be careful to make sure that your food has very little to none added sugar. Okay, a lot of foods that are going to have added sugar in them, of course, are going to be sweets, cereals, things like that are going to have, just basically just straight up sugar. There's not really a whole lot else in them. Okay, another thing that you want to look out for additive wise is you want to be looking out for seed oils. Okay, so a lot of companies will add in sugar and or fat to their foods because sugar and fat are very, very, very delicious. We like them. Our brain lights up when we eat those things, so that makes us want more of them. So companies are going to add in cheap sources of sugar and cheap sources of fat to make you want to eat more of their food. So cheap sources of fat include seed oils, all right, which is sunflower oil, safflower oil, grapeseed oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, palm oil is another one you see a lot. These things are super, super dangerous to your body. They're highly inflammatory, and they cause a lot of damage to your cells, a lot of damage to your digestive system. So it's really important to watch out for these things and make sure that the oils that you are going for, that you see in your food, are things like olive oil, right? Avocado oil, coconut oil. Those things are the good ones that you want to be adding into your diet, or eating foods that have those oils, not these ones. These ones are terrible for you. Another additive you want to watch out for is maltodextrin. That one is just kind of a weird thing that they add to food just to it enhances the flavor. Makes the sugar and the fat more powerful in your body. So you want to watch out for that one. Another one is gums and binders, which really disrupts your gut. So guar gum, xanthan gum, stuff like that, you want to look out for. It really does a damage on the digestive system. And then really anything that seems chemically. If you look at it and you go, okay, that sounds like something that I read in chemistry class. If you see that, chances are it's probably not going to kill you, but probably better to just avoid it. Okay. So it can be really difficult though when you're shopping to turn over all your food, right, and realize, okay, well, more than half of the foods that I'm picking up have this crud in them. So how exactly do I go about avoiding them? The first thing you want to do is shop for unprocessed foods first. So fill up your cart with you've probably heard it before, perimeter of the store, right? Fill your cart with these items, and then if you still need to get other things, then go for some of the processed foods. But all of the foods that you're looking to buy, try to find an unprocessed version of it first, and then if you can't find it, then maybe go over to a processed food of it, right? But chances are you can probably find an unprocessed version. For example, like oatmeal. Okay, so there's two types of oatmeal out there. You have the boxed one that has the packages and they're flavored, and you can just dump them into the bowl and add milk or water and whatever, and then you're good to go. But there's a lot of sugar in there. There's a lot of additives in there. There's a lot of flavorings. There's a lot of crap in there that's going to really disrupt our body. Or you can just get the carton of oats, which is just the only ingredient is oats, right? So you can kind of see how, oh, well, I want to eat this food. What is the unprocessed version of this food, if that makes sense? So another thing you can do to how to avoid them is look for foods with little ingredients. If the food is only made of one or few ingredients, it's likely unprocessed. For example, protein sources that are unprocessed: eggs, meats, fish, plain, 0 grams of added sugar, Greek yogurt. Those are some really good unprocessed protein sources. What are processed protein sources? Deli meats are one that's processed. You can get frozen chicken or the stuff that has a lot of flavored stuff in it. It has a lot of processed stuff in there. That's another one. Prepackaged bacon is probably going to be processed, stuff like that. So you can kind of get a sense of, okay, if it's fresh and it's not in a bag, then it's probably good to go. Pretty simple. All right. Yes, there are processed vegetables out there. There's a lot of pre-flavored and pre-seasoned vegetables. You just want to go with plain, frozen, fresh, or canned vegetables. Okay. Carbs is where most of the proteins, I mean, most of the processed foods are going to fall into the carbs category. Okay. Um, what you want to be going for are potatoes from the produce section. That's a really good carb source. Not potatoes that are frozen and already into French fry form. All right, just get standard, fresh, normal, raw potatoes. Unflavored plain rice is a good one to go. If you're in a bind, then I definitely recommend going with the like the ready rice ones where you just tear it open and you put it in the microwave. But go for the ones that have like just rice and maybe like some seasoning as the ingredients, but nothing else. Okay. Again, plain oats, no package, just get the carton. Fresh fruit is always good to go with. Dry pasta, and then canned beans or legumes. If you stick to this list, you will be squared away, I promise. And then when it comes to fats, again, a lot of processed foods are high in fat. But there are some unprocessed versions of healthy fats out there. All right, fresh or frozen avocados, natural peanut butter, where the only ingredients are peanuts and salt. You see a lot of peanut butters adding like sugar and palm oil, like Jif, Peter Pan, all those brands. Yeah, stay away from them. All right, unflavored nuts, so like just raw peanuts. You can get the salted versions, obviously, and then olive, avocado, or coconut oil, and then butter and ghee. These are awesome versions of unprocessed. If you eat all these foods off of this list and very little of anything else, you will be probably one of the healthiest people on the planet. So stick to this list, and you'll be good to go. So why is meal planning even important in the first place? Okay, so planning allows you to be more flexible with what you're eating. So if you plan the day ahead of time, you know if and how you can fit extra treats, drinks, stuff like that into your day of eating. So if you don't plan ahead and then you just kind of eat whatever, maybe you're eating fairly healthy, right? But you don't really plan exactly what's going to be what you're going to be eating, then you don't know where you fall calorie wise, protein wise, all that stuff. So it's important to plan out so you know exactly where you fall. It eliminates the question, what am I going to eat for breakfast today? What am I going to eat for lunch today? You already have the plan. You already know what's going on. So there's kind of a stress that's lifted off of your shoulders at that point. Okay. Planning makes hitting your calorie and protein targets a hell of a lot easier. It gives you an idea of what your grocery budget is going to be like each week or each month or however, because I stick to these staple foods and I pretty much buy the same things. You know how to budget for that, which is a good thing. And then it gets you into a routine of eating well and eating often, which ultimately will serve your body over time, making you more fit for life. So this is pretty much the biggest one here. It's going to get you into the routine of not skipping meals, going to get you into the routine of eating meals that are serving your body. All right, so in 20 years, if you get onto a good routine of this, in 20 years, you're going to feel a hell of a lot better than if you hadn't planned your meals a majority of the time. Okay. So, common mistakes and pitfalls that we see a lot of times when it comes to planning out your meals is literally just not even doing it. Like, just from this point going forward, saying, oh, yeah, Nick, planning meals, that's cool. I'm just going to stick to what I've been doing. It's been going okay for me, whatever. That mindset right there is going to really hold you back. You may be doing okay without planning your meals now, but I promise you, the further you get into this journey, it's going to help you tremendously. Okay. Another mistake we see is planning just one meal at a time. So it's Thursday night, for example, and you go, okay, tomorrow's Friday. I know for breakfast, I'm going to be having my Greek yogurt and my hard boiled eggs and an apple. Cool. Good night. Go to bed. Right? You don't plan out the rest of the day. And then, you plan out breakfast, you eat breakfast, and then you go, oh shit, what am I going to eat for lunch and dinner today? I don't know. I'm kind of panicking. I end up eating, Chick-fil-A for lunch because that's all I had. And then, you're derailed and blah, blah, blah. So planning out more than just one meal at a time. Another one we see a lot of times is having little to no protein source at your meal. Okay, so having a meal with just pasta is not a good plan. Yes, even if it's Banza, even if it's chickpea pasta, even if it's all that stuff, right? It's not just a good plan. You have to make sure you're centering meals around a protein source. That's key. It's vital. Another mistake we see a lot is including a large amount of processed foods in your plan. Again, the deli meat, loaves of bread, processed cheeses, like, Kraft singles, right? A lot of sauces and like, barbecue sauce and a lot of Chick-fil-A sauce, a lot of stuff like that. Most pancake mixes are not great. Kodiak cakes are decent. They have some added sugar in them, so I prefer to just make my own pancakes. But Kodiak cakes are not terrible. So if you do want to make pancakes, that's probably the way to go. But most other than that are probably needed to be avoided. And then boxed, frozen, and lunches and dinners. So like lean cuisines, stuff like that, stuff that's already there. You just kind of put in the microwave. You don't want to be eating a lot of those things. There's a lot of ingredients in there that are not great. So the last little thing here is your meal planning activity. So this is actually what you're going to do to plan out your meals and to get into the habit of doing this. So what we're going to do is you're going to have your meal planner, okay, that you should have that has, it says Hawkins Health and Fitness meal planning, and it has 12 weeks of breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. All right. So what you're going to do is you're just going to do 1 week so far of meals that are filled out on the planner. Okay. So you're going to go Monday through Sunday, 7 days, not just 5, all 7 days. You're going to fill out. All right. And then you're going to send me a picture in WhatsApp of your 1 week of meals filled out. So this example, this is what it would look like. Okay. Don't be blown away here, but this is kind of what we want to be practicing. So Monday through Friday, my breakfast is going to be 2 hard-boiled eggs with an apple and a Greek yogurt cup. I've said it like 3 times because this is an awesome breakfast. All right, maybe try to get into the habit of doing something along these lines. That's going to be my breakfast Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday breakfast, I'm going to have 3 Kodiak cakes with blueberries. Boom. Saturday and Sunday, I want to have my pancakes. Makes sense, okay? Now we'll move on to lunch. So Monday through Wednesday, lunch, I'm going to have chicken thighs with rice, peppers, onions, and a stir fry. Very simple. Thursday and Friday lunch, I'm going to have steak, potatoes, and Brussels sprouts. Very simple. Saturday and Sunday lunch, I'm going to have pulled pork sandwiches with coleslaw. Love it. All right. Dinner. All right. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday dinner, I'm going to have salmon, rice, and asparagus. Tuesday, Thursday dinner, I'm going to have homemade chicken Alfredo. Saturday dinner, pizza night. Love it. And then Sunday dinner is going to be a steak salad. Okay, so make sure in your plan you're including fun things like chicken Alfredo, pizza night, stuff like that. You don't want to just go with just the unprocessed, healthy, clean stuff. You want that stuff to be a part of your routine 80% of the time. Throw in some stuff like pancakes. Throw in some stuff like barbecue sandwiches, pizza. You want to throw that stuff in there and intentionally plan for it. Because if you go the entire week and all you're eating is these super clean, unprocessed foods, right? You're going to get into this habit of going 7 or 8 days, maybe 10 days of eating that stuff. And then what's going to happen is you go to a birthday party and you're like, holy shit, it's been so long since I've had a piece of cake. I'm going to eat not 1 piece of cake, but I'm going to eat 4, 5, 6 pieces of cake because I know today is my only day to eat cake. And then tomorrow I'm going to have to get right back on my strict routine. That is a bad habit and a bad relationship to get into. Plan out for these days where you're going to be having processed food. It's important. So make sure you add that stuff in there. So this is kind of an example of what it should look like on your meal planner that I sent you. So make sure it kind of resembles this a little bit. Send me a picture of it and you'll be good to go. Start planning your meals. Don't take this as just this is okay, whatever, I'll try it out. Do it and do it well, do it effectively, and let me know how else I can help you with it.